Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily. This is your build-up show, and I am Gav. I have Anthony. Sorry, this is playing back in my ears. Is it playing back in anyone else's ear?
No. Having a mare.
I don't know what's going on there. I haven't got a clue what's going on. It's going to play in my ear all this evening until I get this fixed. But listen, this show is brought to you by Paddy Power. A bookie is a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly, and remember to do so with Paddy Power. Lads, I'm going to start by talking about Brighton. Brighton have done really well to get out of the trouble that they're in. I had them written off. I'm being honest with you. I absolutely had them written off. But they seem to have got themselves out of what they needed to do. They look like they're safe for me, and I don't know how they've done it. Anthony, first time on a show with you, I believe. You're very welcome.
Thanks very much.
Brighton. Before this all kicked off, I was of the opinion, I know plenty of lads that were on the pod in the run-up as well, felt that they were going to have a very, very tricky and decisive last 9 games, which would see them probably relegated. Have they surprised you at all?
Yeah, they have. Look, it's funny, I always felt when we came back out of this lockdown that funny things were going to happen. There was going to be maybe a few strange results, and certain teams would come out of it in better shape than others. They're one of the ones that bounced out of it looking in good nick. To be honest with you, I don't know why that is. Some teams maybe are better conditioned. Maybe the way they play suits, the fitness that they brought back into. I can't really put my finger on it. They probably caught Arsenal at a good time. That was a massive win for them. And one win like that at this stage of the season is just, it can be huge for a team down there. I think they picked up 7 points, I think, since they've come back. I think it's something like that. So,
somewhere around that, yeah.
It's pretty solid. It's not absolutely spectacular, but you don't really need to be down there because there's 3 or 4 teams that are really poor. And so just that little haul has probably got them safe. If they pick up one more win between now and the end of the season, that's probably it. I don't think. I still think they're fairly. There's problems in the side. I'm not hugely convinced by what Potter has done, to be honest with you. There was a lot of, even in Houghton's time at Brighton, there was this idea that they didn't like the style of play and they were a little bit stale and too pragmatic. But they might be a little easier on the eye now, but the results aren't really reflecting it. So I still think they're a team with issues, but as I said, they did bounce back out of that lockdown in pretty good shape. They got a really good win against Arsenal. That's probably going to be enough to see them safe.
Yeah, in their first the 4 games that they've come back, they have, I think they've been beaten by United. They've won away to Norwich. They've drew away to Leicester, and they've beat Arsenal. So yeah, 7 points from 12, which is a big thing. Seany, are they one of those sides, and we've seen it throughout the league, where there's a couple of sides that have come out flying, and there's a couple of sides that have come out and are literally in treacle. Are they just one of the sides that have come out and it's just this break has done them not the world of good, but they just seem to have adapted, I suppose, better than others without being a spectacular side, and they could be the third or fourth worst team in the league, but they've just managed to grab the bull by the horns and get themselves more or less out of trouble now with 5 to go.
Yeah, to touch on what Anthony said, I think that I think Potter is a good coach. Like you said, they brought him in to play a little bit more stylish football. But since the break, they've actually become a little bit more pragmatic. They're giving possession up to teams now, which they normally like to be a team in possession. But they've kind of reverted away from that to be more pragmatic and to be more of a counter-attacking team. And it's worked out for them. It's got them enough points and we keep them up. Now, during the whole null and void crap, they were one of the biggest advocates for getting the season called off. And they were kicking off the boxes in order to have it cancelled. And when you looked at that last 9 games, I think you were looking saying, Jesus, you can see why they'd wanted to be blown up because they had a horrible run of fixtures. Arsenal, Leicester, they have to play us, they play United. So you were thinking, looking there, saying, oh, Jesus, you'd fancy them to get little or nothing out of that because they were really struggling before the break. But it couldn't have come at a better time for them. And they've turned it around massively. And I think Potter actually deserves a bit of praise because I think people were calling him naive to think that he'd be able to play Brighton up the table with that style of football, with that squad. But he's changed it up a little bit and he's seen them coming back flying and they look more or less like they're safe now.
They do. They absolutely do. Chris, the one thing about Potter is, and the word from Brighton was that regardless of what happened, he wasn't in danger of losing his job. They believe in him. They're going to stick by him regardless of what happens this season. How key is that? Because, you know, when you look around the league and you look at Bournemouth, how Eddie Howe is still in the job is beyond me. But that's just me being a little bit obsessed with Eddie Howe. And then you look at David Moyes at West Ham. Watford changed managers, you know, more times than I don't know, they're just mad. How key is that he has a squad there that know, you know, like you've seen squads that just down tools on managers, you know the manager's going to get the bullet, whereas the players don't really have an option here. I'm not saying they would down tools, but they don't have an option. And they know, listen, this guy is with us regardless of whether we stay up or go down. Is that a key in it all?
I think it is because he wants to change how they play. And I think too many clubs, the first sign of danger, they panic and go, oh, look, it's not working. You know, get it, Big Sam, get in David Moyes. You know, this is what, you know, West Ham have done it twice. You know, the other good example of this is the guy at Southampton, whose name escapes me now. You know, that's him. They got smashed 9-0. And I was on the show. You were like, there's no way you could survive that. And in fact, the club saying, no, we're sticking with him. It kind of calls the players out and go, well, he's staying. So either you pick up and get on with it or you'll be out. The one thing he's done better this since lockdown is he's kept them in games. Even the Arsenal game where they were getting outplayed at times, it was always 1-0, always 1-0. A bit like Arsenal tonight. If you keep it at 1-0, you always give yourself the opportunity. And I think aside from the United game where United were just miles better than them, they've always kept themselves pretty close into games, and they've got Mopé working for them. You know, who looks quite handy for them. The big thing they need, which is like a lot of the guys at the bottom, they just they lack a bit of a consistent goal scorer. You know, Mopé is useful and does get the odd goal, but they haven't got anyone to replace Glenn Murray's goals. Unfortunately, Glenn Murray he's about 48 now, so he can't really do it anymore.
Yeah, it's just I've just been shocked by them because, like as Anthony says there, and Seany's touched on, their style of football to me looked like it was an absolute recipe for going down. Not as severe as Norwich, who the naivety from them has been exceptional, to be honest with you, this season. But I just felt that if you want to keep trying to play pretty, this is the time to, you know, get stuck in and you know, do the dirty work and do it for 8-9 games and get out. But like Seany says, they become a bit more robust and they've a bit more pragmatic and it's worked for them. Now, whether he looks at that and goes forward next season into something similar or whether he tries to revert back to his style, we'll all have to wait and see. Anthony, coming back to you, Liverpool have been, I would say, indifferent since the start back. Now, of course, they've been crowned champions, so who cares? You know, Andy Robertson's running around, he sees about 4 footballs at the one time. You know, certain players are just around the place, and you know, it's very hard to read what sort of, I suppose, outlook they have on the rest of the games, points totals, different things. But what are you looking for tomorrow night? Are you looking for, you know, fringe players to get a go? Are you looking for them to go full strength and target this points record? What are you hoping for?
I'd love to see them get the points record because this is a chance that they may never get again. You know, there's part of you going, when Liverpool won the league, you always tell yourself in the build up to that or the last few months, you're just thinking, just just win it. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if they lose every game after they win it. Just get over the line, because of course we had the null and void brigade, and there was all sorts of talk going around the last few months. But it's just the nature of being a fan. Now that they've done it, we still have 5 games to go, and they have a brilliant chance to do it, to shatter that 100 points record. I think we're still on for 105 or 104.
104. Yeah.
It's just absolutely unbelievable, and they genuinely might never get a chance to do that again. And I think they have to know that, and Jurgen Klopp will know that. He won't say it publicly, but they'll know, and they'll want it. They will want it. Klopp, the reaction to the City loss, that it hurt. It hurt everybody. I can guarantee it. Like, they don't like getting spanked 4-0 by City or by anybody. I thought there'd be a better reaction against Aston Villa. I thought we were flat, for 65, 70 minutes until we made that, brought that triple substitution, just, livened us up and won us the game in the end. I don't know if Liverpool are going to suddenly start playing absolutely brilliant, but I still think they'll still always have enough to beat. Like, I expect us to win tomorrow night. I think what you might see is more games like we've seen on Sunday, where they're not at their flying peak best, but they're still good enough to win Premier League games, which we've seen all year. The best team in the league, the most consistent team in the league, and it was summed up by City, who, I have to say, I thought City were excellent against Liverpool when they won 4-0, but then they lost the next game. They've lost 8 games or 9 league games this season. So I think Liverpool will just keep churning it out. And as I said, I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if we were better than how we played against Villa, but still not brilliant, but good enough to win the game, if that makes sense. I think we'll just keep still churning it out.
Okay. Seany, a drop in standards, even by Liverpool, you could take 10% odd and 15% odd, and you can still kind of dog a game out and win it. What are you hoping for? Because I'm not pissed off at trying to read what Klopp is saying, because he said some stuff and it's being complete opposite, and that's his job, I suppose, to keep us guessing. What are you looking for, Seany? What are you hoping for, or what do you think will happen? There's loads of questions there, Seany. Take them whatever order you want.
Like you said, Liverpool with a 10% drop off should be good enough to beat most teams, and I think a team with the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Alisson in it, you're not going to give up many goals. You're not going to lose many games of football, as you've seen over the last 2 years. In a world without COVID, I'd be wanting us to go and smash the record if this was playing out the end of May, the way the season was supposed to. But I think Klopp and the team behind them will be more rational and thinking more with hindsight as into next season. So I'd say they'll use these next couple of, 3 weeks left in the season. I'd say it will definitely be used as a springboard for the next campaign, because look, records and all that are great, but the monkey's off the back now, and the history books will say that we're Premier League champions, regardless of anything else. And Klopp would be more interested in going and winning the thing back to back than breaking a record over one season. The drop off in performances is completely understandable, in my opinion. These lads have been tilting nail with Man City for the last 2 years, and there was obviously going to be some sort of adrenaline dump when they finally get over the line. Now, the City game for me is forgivable. It was off the back of title celebrations, and look, it was one of them games, could have went either way, similar to Barca at the new camp. I think knee-jerk on any particular individual performances between now and the end of the season is just not necessary, because the context has changed completely. Like, I'm looking at Sky there, they're showing the league table, Liverpool are in gold, nothing else matters. So we need to look at these next few games. Tomorrow night is going to be tough, no doubt about it, because look, the last 2 seasons, home and away to Brighton, have been slogs. All the games. The last 3 games, I think we won 1-0 there last year, Salah a penalty. We had a ropey game at Anfield there this year, and we only beat them 1-0 there last year, Anfield as well. So it's all, for whatever reason, it's always been a tough game for us. Them being probably home and host might change it a little bit. But you just want to see standard Liverpool performance. Look, it's great to watch this team in full flow. and any chance we get to do it, we won't take it for granted.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I'm just still like, we'll get to predictions later and team predictions, and it'll be interesting to see what way we all go with that, because like I said, I've seen Klopp say we're going to go after this league and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and it's nearly the exact opposite. Now maybe that's what's annoying him, because he seems to have gotten a little bit annoyed over the last week, and maybe that's he is saying stuff, believing it, and it's just not happening. Chris, what do you want to see? Because there's a lot of talk around it, medals and 5 appearances, and then I've seen, well, the club get 40 medals and they can do what they like with them. Where do you stand on this? Is it something where you'd like to see these lads start, or do you just say, listen, there's 5 games left, we'll get A, B and C on as a sub in all those 5 games, and that'll sort them out, because you've 5 subs. Are you a fan of this, or do you think, you know, as the media try put it, you know, you're trying to put a marker down for next season, which I don't go along with, but is that something that's in your conscience when you're thinking about
it? Me personally, I think they should go as strong as whatever he thinks his strongest 11 is. Get the points won, and then do what he has been doing, which is give Nico Williams, Elliot Jones, give 2 of them the last 15 minutes, and the one that doesn't get a game this time, give him the next 15 minutes of the Burnley game. That's how they get their appearance points that they play with no pressure on them, and we can see what they are, which is what they want. There was no pressure because we won it, but I sort of want the points total, because it wasn't that long ago we were talking about, we could try and do Champions League and League because we were in that good form, or maybe we could try and beat it, and all these little things we could have had extra. They've all kind of dropped off. I'm not being ungross there. We only won the league, but I don't think next year you'll see anyone get close to 100 points or 104. But I just don't think it's possible. So, like, City have done it once. They're the first team to do it. I think they were the first team to do it. So, if you get the chance, I think you should take it. And I think that does give you a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence for next year. You know, to sort of, we can go again. Because they will be fired up for next year, because next year they'll want to win it again, but actually lift the trophy with us in Anfield. So they have got the incentive there. But I think when City got 100 points, my thought at the time was, well, no one's going to get that. You know, how do you compete with that? And the fact we've done it 2 years later, that's going to get into people's heads. And there will be clubs that will start doing the thing we used to hate them doing to United and City, which is, I've got Liverpool this week. Do you know what? I'll rest a couple of my good players because I've got Burnley next week and I need the points against Burnley. I'll rest them against Liverpool. You find stuff like that happens. So that's why I think you want to try and go for it. For me, I think he goes with almost what we would call his main 11. I think the only debate is, I think it's Henderson, Fabinho and one other. And I think the one other is the big debate, because of the 4 lads who could play midfield, Genie hasn't really done it since he's come back. He's just, you know, it happens, go off form. And I will get slaughtered on Twitter because they're the FIFA 11. But Keita and Chamberlain, for me, it flashes. And I'm at the point now going, you've been here, it's more Keita than Chamberlain, well, because Chamberlain's had a bad injury, but you've been here 2 years now. I need to see more than flashes. I need to see you being more consistent and being available, which is why maybe whether Thiago happens or not, that's probably why they're looking at Thiago. Probably thinking, we can't trust Keita and Chamberlain to be fit for a whole season, so we need a third creative lad. So then between the 3 of them, they can fill one position. But for me, that's my frustration. I'd actually start Jones, because at least when he's coming, he's made an impact.
Yeah, sorry, Shawnee's laughing. I think he's laughing. I think he's laughing at this. He said an XR3i, is that a lawnmower with seats? Was going to say that's the closest we'll get to Thiago Alcantara. Anthony, we've had numerous people on this show over the last couple of days with regards to Thiago Alcantara. We've had lots of views on Keita, on Chamberlain, on Henderson, on Wijnaldum, the situation with his contracts and stuff. Where do you stand on it all? Because a lot of people feel that with the Wijnaldum contract and the Thiago talk makes sense, and then, you know, Keita and Chamberlain start against Villa and weren't very inspiring. Where do you stand on all this? Where do you see it going? And what's your opinion on our midfield and, you know, the likes of Keita, Chamberlain, what he can bring? Where do you stand on it?
Well, first of all, like, I remember about a year ago after Liverpool won the Champions League, Wenger was talking about that Liverpool team and where did they go and how do you improve it. Now, as it happened, we didn't sign anybody that summer, but this was right after the Champions League final. And he made the point that you got to be extremely careful when you have a team that good of what you bring in. What you bring in can disrupt all the good things you've built. So that's, you got to be very, very careful, very selective about the type of character and the type of footballer that you bring into that group. And we've actually seen that before with Liverpool. I think I'd go back to 2002 in the summer where Anelka was let go and we brought in Juff and Joe, and suddenly we went from nearly win the league to just went backwards very quickly. So that being said, I think it's really hard for Liverpool who they bring into to any part of the pitch, but in the middle part of the pitch particularly, because it's really difficult to play in the middle of the park for Liverpool. Like, it's really hard. It's an enormous amount expected of those players. It sort of bugs me when Liverpool's midfield three, whoever they may be, they all tend to get lumped in with the tag of being workhorses. I think it's really unfair, especially for someone like Wijnaldum, who's actually technically really excellent. Very Dutch in the way his football education, smart footballer, keeps the ball really well. That being said, we don't know what's going to happen with Gini Wijnaldum this summer. There's rumors flying around. Is he going to commit? Is he going to move on? And it is difficult not to get excited Liverpool being linked with someone like Thiago, he's just a Rolls Royce footballer, isn't he? You'd love to see him playing at Anfield, and I have to say, I think he would. I'd love to see Klopp getting his hands on him. He's 29, which he's hardly ancient. I know that's a little bit older than the profile that FSG tend to prefer to go with. I do. Look, I think Liverpool probably do need to be freshened up generally. Probably I'd like to see another attacking player coming in. I think we need left back cover, and I would like to see someone else coming in to freshen up the midfield. And Thiago would be brilliant to get. But I love all those midfielders. I just think there's so much to like about them. But it is a fair point to say that certainly Keita he hasn't taken off. And for a guy of his ability, and he has a lot of ability, like that pass he played on Sunday there's not many footballers that can see that. That's eye of the needle, unbelievable pass. Actually, I don't think enough has been said about it, to be honest. He's got all the ability in the world, but it's just, look, he hasn't strung even 5, I would say, 8 out of 10 performances out of 6 for Liverpool. I don't think he's done that. And he needs to start doing that, or it's not going to happen for him here. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I just the Keita thing is fascinating to me because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think he has all the tools to be an excellent footballer for Liverpool. But the one thing that's shown for me, and I said it on Sunday night on our show, the one thing that showed for me the other day, and Seany mentioned it as well, was that when you put Keita in, he probably needs a Henderson and Fabinho in there with him to add structure to the midfield. So if he wants to vary what he's doing throughout the game, he knows he has the insurance, A, to the right of him, and B, behind him, which is absolutely massive. Musa LFC 21 says, and it's the first time I've seen him on here, so you're very welcome. He says, we might be seeing another evolution in our team. Maybe that's why Klopp is looking at Thiago. Well, I think the biggest thing, look, there's no doubt in Thiago's ability. I think the big thing here is the price. If Thiago was on the market with 2-3 years left on his contract at £70 million, Liverpool aren't going near him. Because, as you say, the profile is not there, and the big thing is age. But I think at £25 million, knowing you could get 3 to 4 years out of him, and I suppose be another very experienced head in a squad where you look at, like, Trent is still young. You're talking about Curtis Jones and Nico Williams and Harvey Elliott, and then you have Brewster's out on loan. There's a couple, Keanu Hoover's there. It's another experienced head. And when you actually look at Curtis Jones signing the contract the other day, he spoke about all these players, how they're a big influence on him, and he rattled off the names, and that probably enough is not made of that. Curtis Jones has been brilliant, and he's progressing way more than I thought he would, I'm being honest. But when you start slashing off these names, adding Thiago to that list of names that are helping you, it's no bad thing. So I think Musa has a really good point there. Before we move on, We're about 25 subscribers short of 2,000. This is how it's going to work. 3 Retro have given us a retro jersey to give away, but the competition will only be activated when we hit 2,000 subscribers. Now, if it happens throughout this show, it will be immediately activated, and I will let you know how you get on. If it goes on to the next show, so be it. But you will need to be on the show to try win. I'll explain all the details as we go. If you're watching and you're subscribed, thank you. Please share it and please hit the like button. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, because all this stuff is free. It goes on all week, and it will continue to go on and on and on, absolutely free. As Peter Smith says, get subscribing and get liking and get doing all that stuff. The biggest thing for us over the last week, and Seany will back me up, is the comments, because as much as we talk football and we have a laugh and we try to get into debate, the comments have been outrageous, especially over the last couple of weeks. And literally, when we get off these shows, we spend hours in our WhatsApp going through all the different messages and having a laugh about them. So the people on here have been amazing. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because as I said, it's free, but it's a laugh, and that's what it's all about. Lads, Chris, I want to come to you. And tomorrow night's game, we've mentioned there about what way Liverpool might look at it, and what way would Brighton look at it, because I think it was you mentioned about resting people and stuff. I'm looking there, Brighton are about 8 points clear of the bottom 3 with 5 games left. You know, now West Ham aren't putting 15 points on the board, or probably won't even put 9 on the board. Is there an argument to say that Brighton could look at this and go, lads, we've had four really tough games. This is probably the hardest of the lot. Let's push this one aside and get ourselves ready for the next one, because we know we've 4 games left, and if we pick up probably 1 win, we're absolutely safe. Is there an argument for that to happen?
There's an argument for it. I mean, they've got City after us as well, so I think all they'll do is, I think if they've got anyone with a slight niggle, or they're slightly unsure about, they probably won't risk anyone. But I think I think what they want to do is they want to get this one more win quite quickly, so then they can just relax and start planning for next season, because then it'll impact their transfer plans if they know where they are. So they might see a couple of changes, but I think you'll see a strong Brighton side. You might see them probably rest a few against City, because I think they only play City like 2-3 days later.
Yeah, they could do. They absolutely could do. But I think they've had a tough time with regards to fixtures. You know, like, all right, Norwich I think was in there, but United, Arsenal, and Leicester are 3 of the harder games you're going to look for when the fixtures come out. Seany, are you with Chris on this? Strong side, and he might look to just take the hit against City.
Yeah, sure. He's already been chopping. He's left Mapoy out a couple of times, and he's been chopping and changing the squad throughout, even when they badly needed points. So I expect him to do the same. And Peter made a good point there. The fact that they can bring on 5 subs now kind of means that they have that little bit of leeway in terms of resting players and bringing players on. So, yeah, I expect them to go more or less full strength as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we were far behind. Maybe might see Minamino in, or you might just go with the regular front 3. And then, like you said, you can toss up a coin between who plays in the midfield with Henderson and Fabinho. So I'd like to see Keita personally tomorrow night again, because I do think it's the type of game where he could be really good away from home against a team like Brighton. So I think tomorrow night should be a good game of football. I think it has potential to be a good game of football.
I think I might be looking at this now. Half of me wants this points total, but our record. But I'm looking at it now, 89 with 5 to go. You're only giving yourself basically 1 defeat as leeway, and I think it might be hard. Like, don't get me wrong, these players, as someone said earlier, have lost 3 games in 2 seasons or something like that, and they have got the attitude. But I just think, with the fact that there's no one in stadiums and it's being won with 7 left, you know, I think it's going to be hard. I think it'll be hard for them to push themselves through and win, you know, 4 of the last 5 and to get 101 points. I think it will be. And for that reason, I'd like to see them experiment a bit. I'm not worried about results, I'm being honest with you. Nobody's going to, well, unless you're Martin Tyler, probably, nobody's going to turn around at the start of next season and go, well, remember Liverpool at the back end of last season there when when they had 16-year-olds on the pitch and their form wasn't great, and maybe we can look for that this season. That's not going to happen. No one's going to remember what happens in the last 5 games unless Liverpool do and go do a points record. So I think I'd like experiment. I'm being honest with you. I'm going to get your team lineups, right? So Anthony, give us a Liverpool lineup.
Yeah, I think he will go strong, and I think we'll see the same. Obviously, Alisson on the same back four that we saw at the weekend.
Not for being a centre half, no.
No, I don't think so. I think we will see. I think we'll see. I think we'll see Keita again, yeah, and probably Henderson and Fabinho in with him. Same front three. I expect them to go strong. I do. I think, if we're going to see much experimentation, it will probably come towards the last couple of games maybe. I don't think there'll be massive changes to what we saw on Sunday. What we finished with on Sunday. I think Keita will stay in though.
Okay. Ant would start Jones, Elliott, and Nico Williams tomorrow. Just to throw that out there to you before you give me your lineups. Seany, what lineup are you going with?
I'd imagine it's going to be full strength.
Right.
Well, it depends what you consider full strength. The back five as is, then Fabinho, Hendo, Keita, and the front three, I reckon. He seems to really. I know Salah missed the Everton game with injury, but he seems to be more reluctant to rest Salah than Keita. So I don't know. Let's see. I'd like to see Minamino play because I would have liked to see Minamino start on Sunday, to be honest. Because I think he could deal with the games more than Origi. We know what Origi's about now at this stage. But I reckon that'll be the lineup. I reckon he'll go full strength. Doesn't look like either of the lads are going to get the golden boot now at this stage because Vardy went down and got another month on so I think it put Salah 5 behind. So unless something miraculous happens, but I'd say that'll be the strongest lineup you'll go with tomorrow night.
Chris, are you going along those lines, strongest lineup possible, or are you throwing a Minamino in? Are you throwing any of the youngsters in? Where are you going?
I'm going Joe Gomez in the 10.
Yeah,
probably gone from our conversation last night.
Last night we had a show. One of the lads basically saying that Joe Gomez is fit for the dumpster fire after the game against City. It was a bit needy, but yeah.
He's on the chat tonight, I think, Peter.
Yeah,
he's in there somewhere. But he's taking it well.
I'm sure.
He was very close to going full Kev Keegan as well. But if he'd have went full Kev Keegan, I think that might have been the end of him. But no, Peter's a good lad, and he's taking it well. But go on, who are you going with?
Joking aside, I think he'll go normal back four, normal front three. I think he'll probably go Henderson, Fabinho, probably Keita, although I can't be answering at the moment. So, I mean, to mix it up, I'd quite like him to go Fabinho and Henderson as a 2. And actually play Minamino in a 10 behind Bobby. Do a 4-2-3-1. Just if you want to experiment, just put one new lad in and see how Minamino does when he's got Manny, Salah, and Firmino around him. Because that'll probably help him because he hasn't played many games with like the main front three, and I think that might be if you want to mix it up, that might be it. I don't think he will, but I think that's possibly an option you may look at. But I think he'll probably do the normal midfield 3 of Henderson, Fabinho, and probably Keita, I think.
Well, looking at the game against Villa, he doesn't start Firmino, and so I think Firmino starts. I get all the shouts on Minamino, I really do, and I'd like to get him in there at some stage. But I think the change in the game when Henderson Wijnaldum comes on, and basically Henderson is ordering Keita around the pitch, telling them where to go, and as Anthony says earlier, his pass for the goal is exceptional. Let's be honest about it. And Michael Owen done a great thing on BT about Firmino's movement for it as well, which was what Michael Owen should do and stick to doing. He's actually good at it. But I think Alisson, the back four, I think is perfectly fine. I think I have a feeling he go Fabinho, Henderson, Keita, simply because he's seen something in the last 25-30 minutes there. He might give it another go to. Up front, I just think he goes with the front three. I think Mane always wants to play games. We're talking about Salah being 5 off Vardy. Salah will still see a chance getting up alongside Vardy in that. 5 to go, put 7 or 8 in there and see what happens. Because Vardy's got one tonight, but he hasn't been in the best of form, has he? So I think that's the side. But when you look at Curtis Jones signing that new contract, I think he's going to want to get him involved at some stage. Because as ruthless as Klopp can be, and you know, not blinkered but tunnel vision when it comes to winning football games, there is a personal side to Jurgen Klopp that will look at Curtis Jones and go, listen, I owe this fella 20 minutes after signing a new contract. 3 days before the game. So I think I go with the side. What would you call our strongest possible side, but I'd have Keita in there instead of Wijnaldum. Score predictions. Now, you can give me a score prediction, but I want the scorers because I'm not like Keith. I don't let you just throw in any old fucking thing and walk off into the sunset. I'll follow this up and I'll let you know if you are right or wrong because I work with Grizz a lot and I have to do that a lot. So I'm going to do the same to you. So, Anthony, back to you. Score prediction and scorers, please.
Yeah, tight game. I expect a tight game. 2-1 to Liverpool. I'm going to say Mo and Virgil. We did them on set pieces at Anfield, and I think a Virgil header. And I think Mo looks like he's ready to start banging in a few goals. So 2-1 Mo and Van Dijk. Nice.
I think Virgil's always a great bet for a goal. He'd just be always about 7-8 to 1 to score at any time in the game. I think he's a great bet.
Like Sammy Hippier used to be the same.
Yeah. Very similar, yeah. Very similar. Kieran Tom wants to know, is that Sean you lost since Christmas tree waiting for the decorations in the background?
No, it's Kieran, that's a hash plant. So
right.
Because I'm waiting on the police to start in here at any minute.
Yeah, Big Joe Walsh. Shut your mouth, Kieran. Let me see. Peter Smith says 2-2 and another shocker from Gomez. he's not letting go, is he? He's not letting go. Jer Cahill says 4-0. Salah with 3 and Sadio with a goal. Max Oaken says, Shawnee, that plant is looking healthy. Is that a clay pebble pot or not?
Max, that's a plastic plant. That's about as real as fucking Chelsea's back line.
Okay, right. There you go, Max. It's all in the detail. Let me see. Dom King, not Don King of boxing fame, says that Lallana is training on his own. It looks like the end of him. Oh, interesting. Surprised considering he signed a little extension to stay on.
No, it is the end of him. It is the end of him. I saw a story earlier on that was embargoed until about now, actually, and he has agreed with Liverpool that he won't play because he doesn't want to get injured. So he's played his last game for Liverpool.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Here's a scoop.
There's a scoop. Yeah. Exclusive.
There you go.
Yeah.
An exclusive there. Nice one. I'm a bit upset at that, to be honest with you. Yeah. I would have liked it as much as I think this squad has gone.
Run out at Anfield.
Yeah, well, nobody there, but still get a run out. But as much as I think that
it's going to be
well, I don't know. When was his last game?
You need to think he's. Someone said there, like, I'd imagine he has a move already lined up. There's no point in risking it really for him.
Well, David Walsh doesn't want to jeopardise his move to Leicester, so he believes he's going to Leicester. But yeah, for someone that I think the squad has passed them by at this stage for a number of reasons. I still think it's unfortunate. But then again, he signed the deal to stay till the end of the season, but now he's not playing, which is a bit weird. But anyway, he's obviously staying to stay in shape. And look, I hope he gets his move to wherever he wants to get, and the medical is absolutely fine. We've had Anthony's prediction. We haven't had anyone else's, have we? Shawnee, give us a predictions. Go.
2-1.
Scorers.
Salah and Gomez. Fancy Gomez gets first goal of the season.
Oh yeah, just dropping a shoulder on the edge of the box.
Gonna take off his jersey. Gonna have a picture of Peter on it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. Chris, who are you going? What are you going with?
2-0 Salah brace, and he'll have a T-shirt saying "Justice for Gomez" on it.
Okay, nice. Nice. I'm going to go with 3-1 to Liverpool, and I'm going to go with Bobby to score one, and I'm going to put Salah in there, and I'm also going to put in Jordan Henderson to get one as well. That's not the end. We have a few more bits to talk about, and this fella is next. Bobby Firmino. As with all shows, we try to do a little player profile on the title winning side. So far, I think we've had Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, Robertson. Who do we have the other day? Hendo was in there, and now it's Bobby's turn. What we do is we just chat about the season that they've had, the ups, the downs, how influential they've been. Anthony, this is your first time doing this, so I'll let you go first. Bobby Firmino, the season 19-20. What do you make of him?
You know what? I don't even know if I can just isolate this season when I talk about Firmino. He's just been possibly my favourite Liverpool player, one of my favourite Liverpool players the last 20 years. He's just absolutely brilliant. He's like a combination of an old-fashioned English centre forward, but with like a brain. like a I don't know who to compare him to, but he's got so many strings to his bow. His work rate is unbelievable. He's strong. That's something that's kind of not talked about too much with the likes of our flair players, our attacking players, Mane and Salah, Firmino. These guys are tough. They really are strong lads, and they don't get bullied. They don't get intimidated. He has that thing that a lot of South American players have. His body strength is really good. Like, doesn't get bounced around, and that allows him to do loads of dirty work that often doesn't get commented on, doesn't get picked up on. But it's so important. They're just little small things, like taking the ball in a tight area with 2 or 3 big defenders around you, sucking it up and recycling it, even if it's just passing it back to midfield or a fullback. Like, he does that so many times during the game, and doing that repeatedly, those type of things, it's like a glue with the team. When he's at his best, he's just this glue for Liverpool. He's just an exceptional player. He's had a great year, but he's had a great since Klopp came in, really, where he just suddenly he changed his position and put where he should have been, and I think got fitter as well. I think he was, maybe when he initially came, to me, he was a little bit, just maybe looked a little bit out of shape, not helped by where he was being played. But look, I love him. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. Somebody said, it's been said, he is the system. Firmino is the system. But he is. He really is, because the only thing, and it's not his fault obviously, but the only thing you say about Firmino is that you worry that without him, Liverpool really just aren't the same team, and that would be why, going back to Minamino, would be why I would like to see more of Minamino playing in that role, to see is he capable of in some way replicating what Firmino does, because he is just so important to what Liverpool are, and how they play, and how everything clicks when they're at their best. He's just a fantastic football player.
He really is. I always go last on this, so I'm not going to say too much, but Seany, Bobby Firmino, just a little stat for you: 8 goals and 7 assists this season. Hasn't scored at Anfield in the league. I think he scored in Europe, hasn't he? Atletico. But
absolutely doesn't bother me though, Gav, them numbers.
No, but what does Bobby Firmino mean to you? In a footballing sense, you don't have to go into a personal sense.
No, if I went into a personal sense, we'd probably have to knock this off here, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love him. I love everything about him. I love his character. I love his attributes. You can just tell, you play football. I know this game. No, that sort of thing. I know this game. And when you have a player like Bobby in the dressing room, everyone just gravitates to him. And as Anthony said, I've seen that as well, Anthony. The system. Bobby is the system. Without Bobby Firmino, Mo Salah and Sadio Mane are not 20 goals a season footballers. He's so intelligent. He's so skillful. You take the ball anywhere. He doesn't get pushed off the ball. He's not the most how would I say? Wouldn't have the most physical presence, but you just see players never seem to be able to get near him. He's an incredible footballer. And like you said, 8 goals, 7 assists this season. To be honest with you, I actually think Bobby himself will feel that he can be even better next year going into next season. Next year, he could be even better than he was this year. And that's not a bad thing or a slight on him. Or just imagine that he feels his output could be even higher. But we've seen the difference that he makes, even coming off the bench on Saturday. He just occupies centre halves. Defenders don't know what to do to him. He drops short and they say, do I stay or do I go? They don't know what to do. As soon as they drop in, that's when Salah and Mane go inside and just cause chaos. All these new terms have been thrown around in the last couple of years regarding footballers like Brigistas and false nine. But Bobby Firmino is the textbook false nine. He's incredible. He was never a striker even when we signed him. We bought him from Hoffenheim as sort of like a number 10 or attacking midfielder. But Klopp has basically built this attack around him. And he's an animal. He's an absolute animal. I love him. And regardless of what all the detractors said, Gary Neville hit the nail on the head. Every single coach in England would love a Bobby Firmino in that team because he's so selfless and everything is for the cause. And we wouldn't be where we are without him today.
Yeah, a big shout from Ray Dicko, going back into the vault, and he says, Steve O'Daly of Once of This Parish, R.I.P. He says he prefers Morata. Steve O'Daly did prefer Morata going back last year, and that's the reason he doesn't do positives anymore. It's had that big of effect with Morata and Firmino. But Chris, Bobby Firmino, there's lots said about him. You know, what do you think of him? Because funnily enough, I think he splits opinion. I genuinely do. I think he splits opinion, and only because of the goals return. But is that something that ever comes into your psyche when you're thinking about Bobby Firmino?
It occasionally does, as in, if you're being greedy, you'd like him to score a few more. But if it takes away from what he brings to the team, I'm fine him getting the goals he does. The thing is that he may not score as many as Mane and as Salah this year, but there's 3 games in my head that without Bobby Firmino we don't win. Wolves away, it's the winner. Palace away gets a winner. 2 tight games, and then he gets the winner in the World Club Championship. So, everyone takes the piss, but it's the first time the club ever won it. And the big one was coming back from Qatar. Everyone thought we're going to be in trouble here, and 2 crucial goals against Leicester. So he picks his moments for his big goals. What I like about him is we've had a lot of these pull tiers in the past. So we had like Dirk Kuyt, scorer of big goals, technically not the best. We've had other players who are very, very skillful, but very, very lightweight. He has a brilliant combination of everything of important goals, brings everyone in the team, and what probably gets underrated is when we're defending from corners, if it's not Virgil heading it away, it is generally Firmino. I've never seen this. That's the first centre we've had in a while who can defend properly from a corner, which I know is not very flashy, but it's what we need. And he's one of those players. He's got the money about him as well. He just brings a smile to your face. He's got the right balance of he enjoys himself, but he's a very serious footballer on the pitch. And I think opposition fans, underrate him, and I think it's great because it means no one will try and take him off us. But my concern with Firmino is actually when he's not on the pitch, because at the moment, even Minamino, I'm not sure Minamino could do what Firmino can do. And I think what Klopp needs to think about is if he wants to rest Bobby or God forbid he gets injured, I think the only way we're going to work is probably to find a slightly different system. And that's probably how important he is, because I don't think we change the system for Salah and Mane as good as they are. I think we may have to change the system if we don't have Firmino. That's how crucial he is to us.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. You've mentioned some big games there. The big one for me this season was Newcastle at home, and it stuck out for me because when we watched Villa the other day, I'm nearly sure it was Origi, Mane and Salah up front. It was against Villa, but I'm nearly sure it was at Newcastle at home, and Origi gets injured, and at the time we're 1-0 down, and Firmino, after being rested, has to come on after about 30 minutes and just turns the game upside down. He just comes on and decides, listen, these aren't even good. I'll show you what good is. And he sets...
He's one of the best you'll see.
Yeah, the assist for Salah. He also assists Mane's second one. Sorry. And just for me, it's just I think he's a bit underappreciated. I'm being honest with you. Not from us, because all your words tonight shows how much they're absolutely how he's appreciated. But when you look at Salah and you look at Mane and what they're able to do, and I'm not saying they can only do it because Bobby Firmino allows them to do it. They're two fantastic footballers, but the positions he takes up and the sacrifices he makes in order to get these two lads in time and time again is outrageous. The amount of times you will see Mane make a run from outside to in, looking to get in behind defences, it does not happen if Bobby Firmino doesn't know about it and isn't making a run, towards the ball and leaving space and stuff. He's probably, and look, Garbrain is a coach. Peter Smith knows this game. There's other lads that are within the podcast that are involved with football in an official capacity, I suppose, coaching and indeed playing. And I think if I asked most of them, I think most of them will come back and go, if you want to be a footballer anywhere on the pitch for pure intelligence as to how to play the game, I don't think you can look further than Bobby Firmino. The not scoring at home thing is a bit weird, but the away goals he's got, I think, is more than made up for it. Now, you could turn around and say, listen, if he'd another 10 goals in him, if he's another 10 goals in him, I don't think you're going to up the total of Liverpool goals, because you're going to probably take them away from Mane and Salah at the same time. I don't think his goal scoring, whether it's big or small, makes a massive difference to what the outcome for Liverpool season on season, because when he's scoring loads, that's fine, but when he's not scoring, you can guarantee the two boys each side of them are absolutely flying. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I think Critch are spot on. I think he's probably the hardest player in the team to replace, if you were just going pound for pound, replacing him and staying the way we are. I think Bobby not being in the side, you would probably start looking at a 4-2-3-1, simply because the two lads would have to play deep, and the reason for that is because the amount of work Firmino does up there in his own, in closing people down and filling gaps in around the midfield is off the scale as well. So yeah, Bobby Firmino, I think, gets a massive thumbs up from all of us here, and look, there's loads of lads in the chat saying exactly the same. Something more serious I want to touch on before we finish, and it's the incident that happened outside Everton's ground. I think it was yesterday afternoon or evening, where some dickhead decided to light a flare and stick it on the Dixie Dean statue. I'm going to talk first on this, and I think it's abhorrent what someone's done there. I really do. I can't get over how anyone thinks lighting that and sticking it on a statue is in any way funny, or you're being a big man, or you're being, it's a one-up thing. It's not. And the question I'd always ask is, would you like if someone went down to the Hillsborough Memorial and Everton won the cup and stuck a blue flare at the Hillsborough Memorial? I don't think you would. I don't know how the lads feel the same about this. It was brought up very, very briefly last night by Peter on the club, but I thought I'd bring it up last tonight in a bit more of a detailed way, because we praise Liverpool fans. Now, having said that, it could have been someone just acting the bollocks and going, I'll stick this up here and I'll never get the blame. It could have been, right? But we praise Liverpool fans and the way they go on, behave themselves, travel all over Europe and stuff like that. And listen, we slag Everton off and they slag us, and that goes on. And if you're around the city, you see it, and that's absolutely fine. But what happened there is a step too far. And I think if it was the opposite way around, it'd be absolute outrage. And people giving out about Everton fans being outraged by it, I don't know where that comes from either. Anthony, am I being over the top about this? Am I just am I getting too upset over something, or do you think no? Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
No, I completely agree with you. I think look, when you support Liverpool, whether you're from the city of Liverpool or Ireland or wherever it is, like, you kind of buy into something bigger. You buy into the whole culture of the club. It's that's what's such a big attraction about Liverpool, and part of that is the fan culture. And we've all been to the city, and there is banter between Everton and Liverpool fans, but I think what defines it, or has defined it over the years, is humor. There's a kind of humor in it. Now, I accept that it's got maybe a little bit more bitter in recent years, from both sides. But when something like this happens, you just have to hold your hands up and say, it's just out of order. And it was just crap. Like, there was nothing. It wasn't funny. There was nothing going for it at all. You're thinking, what were they thinking doing that? And sometimes, rival fans, I think, are maybe quick to stick the boot in with Liverpool, maybe quicker than most other clubs. But when something like this happens, you really just have to put your hands up and say, yeah, that was out of order. That's embarrassing. And what I'm getting today is that the vast majority of Liverpool fans, vast majority of the fan base is kind of going, that was out of order, and everybody's putting their hands up. I do feel that. And there's not really much else you can say. I mean, it only takes one. Somebody to step over the line and, tarnishes the whole fan base. I do believe that the majority, though, would accept that that's just not what Liverpool fans are about. There's got to be some kind of mutual respect. There was I think there was something after we won the Champions League with Everton. Wasn't there number 6 was spray painted on an Everton landmark as well? So sometimes you gotta say, look, it's crossed the line. It's not on, and it wasn't. It wasn't on at all. I totally agree with your assessment of it. It was just it was rubbish.
Yeah, it really is, and I can't get away from the comparison of if it happened at Anfield to statues or memorials down there. Seany, I have seen the vast.
I'm not excusing it, but you look at the Trent mural, the Klopp mural, other murals have been defaced by Everton fans as well. This is football. This is tribalism, unfortunately, and we can't hold a whole fan base accountable for the actions of one.
Oh no, you shouldn't.
No, and you look at last year where you seen when we won the league that night. The next day, the scenes on Pearhead. It's disheartening. It's just shit. It's there's no place for it really. Firing fireworks at a national landmark. It's just stupid. And you cannot legislate for these idiots because at the end of the day, they're not football fans. They're akin to these fellas who show up to football matches and look for fights. They're not football fans. They're really not. You don't understand the game. It's silly tribalism and it's completely unacceptable and there's no place for it. And the sad thing is, Gab, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it because you're always gonna have these fucking idiots tied to the football club, no matter who that they support.
No, I wouldn't. I'd never tar a whole support base with the same brush, or lump them all in together. This is clearly one idiot that's done this. So I think it's very important though that. I know where you're coming from. Tribalism, I get all that. I don't think what's done to a mural on Klopp or a mural on Trent, or I've seen other things sprayed at Anfield by Everton fans and stuff like that, and I don't condone those at all. But at the same time, when stuff like this happens, regardless of what's gone on in the past and regardless of who's done what, you need to point this out and say it's wrong. And you continue to point out it's wrong until it stops. Now, I'm not saying it'll stop. I'm not saying what I'm saying now will make it stop. But you have to come out and say it. Now, I've seen Redmen TV. I've seen the Anfield Rap come out and condemn it. We're doing the same. Because, listen, next week, Everton, some idiot that tends to support Everton could go down to Anfield and, spray EFC across something at Anfield. And he'd be an idiot as well. It's okay to call people idiots when they're being idiots. It's just the way it goes. But I wanted to touch on it because I didn't want people to think we're just letting this slide without actually just saying, listen, stop being fucking idiots. You know what I mean? You can have rivalry, you can have tribalism, but you don't do something like that. That's my opinion on it anyway. The top 4 is interesting, lads. The relegation is interesting. Chris, go on.
The only thing I want to add to that, because I agree with what you said.
Sorry, I completely forgot. Go ahead.
Sorry. The only thing that's boiled me a little bit about it is, if you look in society at the moment, how football fans are treated or thought of by the higher ups, you are the lowest of the low. And what do you expect from a football fan? What do you think a football fan would do? Of course they would do that. And unfortunately, Liverpool fans get it more than most. That's what it is. So this banter, one-upmanship bollocks, long term, you are hurting the same people. So what will happen is the next time there is a question about policing or how football fans be treated, oh no, the lads will behave themselves. You'll just turn up. You just give them the reference. So, well, they deface that. They deface that. Dickheads fire flares that appear when during a pandemic. You're adding. You're basically. You're just tiny loops for yourselves, and I don't get it. I don't know if it's a new thing. I don't know if it's the Twitter world. I don't know what it is. But you're just a knobhead. But long term,
exactly.
But long term, you're going to hurt us as football fans. You'll be
relying on people to have rationale. You're relying on these people to be rational in their thinking, and like they're just idiots. It's the only word you can use. And like, there's no other way to explain them. It's a complete lack of intelligence. It's just stupidity.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, look, you all know I take the piss out of Everton, and I will do. But I found that quite offensive because my wife's family are all Blues, and when her granddad died, we put all these flowers and over the statue, and it was quite an emotional time. So you do have a slight, not fondness, but you do have a nod to it.
A connection to that.
And what really pissed me off was there was bloody flowers laid there and wreaths there while there's fucking flares going off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't get it. Listen, if you want to wind Everton fans up, there's plenty of stuff. You don't have to start defacing.
Well, I think
statues or stadiums. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think Liverpool Football Club just playing football winds everything up enough. So I don't think you need to go and do much more, especially at this moment. Owen Burke says those Klopp quotes are fairly grim. Owen, you're going to have to give me the quotes, man.
Klopp said tonight that the club's not in a position to talk or think about transfers, really.
Yeah, I think he's lying because he keeps lying to me. I keep reading his quotes and then he keeps doing the opposite. So
I don't know.
5 or 6 in this summer, I reckon, Shawnee. But look, lads, the top 4 is tight. The bottom is tight as well. I just want to get a little prediction off you as well. I won't hold you to this one, although some of the listeners and viewers might, and they might come back to haunt you at the end of the season. But Anthony, back to you. Top 4, very interesting. Although, the talk is, will 5th be enough? Man City's CAS hearing is next week, I think. Is it next week sometime?
Very soon, yeah.
Yeah, it's very soon. What way do you see the top 4 going? We'll leave 5th over for the moment. Top 4, because you see United are making a move. Arsenal look like they might be making a late surge, but got caught by Leicester tonight. Leicester seem to be falling. Wolves are still in there. In or about, but where do you see it going?
I'm starting to think that Leicester are going to drop out. I think United are going to get in ahead of Leicester. I think United. You just have to accept that they finally started to get it right, which they were always going to at some stage. It only takes 1 or 2 good windows, and they do still have big resources, and they've spent a lot of money in the last few years, and in fairness, they have brought some good young players through as well. But I've watched United. I think I've watched all their games since they restarted, and to me, they're absolutely flying. Like I don't think they're going to drop many points on the run in. They got a fairly kind run in as well.
Yeah, they have. Bar Leicester away on the last day.
Bar Leicester, and Leicester just haven't kicked on at all. And when you're in the position they're in now, it's very difficult to re-kick yourself and refine the momentum at this point of the season for whatever reason. It's hard to quantify it, as we were talking about earlier, why certain teams have bounced into this period of the season better than others. I think United have momentum. They have a kind run in, and they're one of these teams that not playing in an empty stadium seems to be benefiting them. Actually, they're coming out with their shell a bit more. They're younger players. Fernandez is a very good player, and they're starting to get a tune out with Pogba a little bit. I don't think they're as brilliant as maybe their fans like to think they are at this point. I do think they're starting to move in the right direction, but I still think they're ropey at the back, and wouldn't be getting too carried away from them. But they have a lot of momentum, and Leicester don't. And I think Chelsea will still do enough. I can see them just getting over the line, and I think Leicester are actually going to drop out. And I've got to say, if you asked me that even 2 weeks ago, I couldn't have seen that. I thought Leicester were certs, absolute spirits. An honourable mention to Wolves, who I think have been brilliant this year, and I'd love to see them do it.
Killed them though, didn't it?
It did, I think. I think it might have. I'd love to see them do it, but I don't think they will. I'm going to say it will be United and Chelsea.
Okay, Seany, you agree with that?
Yeah, I think momentum is huge in this moment. Leicester, that's probably not a bad result for Leicester tonight, considering the circumstances, because they were getting peppered by Arsenal there tonight at one stage, but they just seemed done. And Rodgers switching up the system and all shows a little bit of panic to me. And
Aston Villa Cup semi-final to me.
Yeah, momentum is a big thing. And look, call a spade a spade. There are rivals, but United have been very good. I think now, taking into consideration the opposition hasn't been the best, but you can only play what's in front of you. And I think they've played very well. I think look, it's almost if you put good players into a team that they begin to walk. And I like to look at that front three. So I think they'll have enough. I think goals will get them over the line and a favourable run in. Chelsea are just doing enough. Scraping. They've 2 narrow victories in the last 2, and they have a couple of tough games. Chelsea have to come to Anfield, and if they play Wolves. Wolves possible outsider for 5th, because 5th might nab it. So Leicester could end up in 6th behind Wolves at this rate and completely miss out on Champions League, even to be in contention regarding what happens. Isn't it? So it's a real look. We're home and housed, and we can put our feet up and enjoy this, and it's great because over the next 2 weeks, it sort of has the feelings like of a World Cup knockout stage. So I fancy United and Chelsea for top 4.
Before I get to Chris and his things, Keith Plunkett of this parish, he's on tomorrow night. I'll let you know a bit more about that in a minute. But he says, Jurgen Klopp says, and this is a quote, "The team is how it is. It does not mean we do not want to strengthen it if we have the opportunity or if we have the financial resources. It will always happen. We will always try."
The next one then wasn't great.
Well, listen, I only read that one, right? Seany, fuck off. If we don't get Thiago, I'm blaming it all on you now. Chris, are you a Chelsea and United man as well?
Well, I think they're the top 4. I'm not one of them.
But you know what I mean.
I think that. I think they're 3rd and 4th, and for me, I think Wolves are 5th. I think Leicester are going to drop to 6th. They just Vardy just seems to have not quite hit the form since the restarts, and they've just got nothing behind him. He just seems to have forgotten how to defend. It's unusual for Rodgers, but it says United. Yeah, I think the no crowd thing helps. I think all the pressure's off them. They probably haven't got the expectation on them, and the running. The way it is, it helps. Like you said, Chelsea's early form that's probably allowing them to coast. But look at Chelsea, they've got some big work to do in the summer, I think, because I think I saw a stat for they've conceded 46 goals already.
Yeah, somebody there says they've conceded more goals than it could be. I think I have it there somewhere. Kieran Thorne says Leicester's next 2 games against Bournemouth and Sheffield United are absolutely massive for them. When you look at United, they've had Spurs away, and then from there on in, they've had Brighton, they've had Bournemouth, they've had a couple of handy enough games, and I think that's going to continue to the end of the season. As I said, Leicester on the last day.
To be fair to Solskjaer, the handy games were the ones he was doing. They were struggling in. Yeah, that's what's killed them early this season. They're dropping lots of points to the likes of the Brightons, the Bournemouths, the teams they should be beating is what I think. Having Pogba and Fernando just gives them that bit of creativity they've missed in the middle.
Keith Plunkett said that quote was before the part that Pierce tweeted. But then again, somebody says, and Dicko says, Pierce said as well about a week ago, he expects 2 or 3 more. Nobody has a clue. I think you're right. The top 4, I think we're writing off Leicester a bit early. I'm being honest with you. I think those 2 games that have just been mentioned are huge for them. I think if they get 6 out of that, they might be in with a chance. Chelsea be fine. It's down to Leicester and United for me. Then again, if Wolves, if one of them falter and Wolves can pick up a couple more wins, and they should be working hard, Wolves, because they still have this Europa League stuff to happen come the end of the season. I think that might be key to Wolves just absolutely going at this till the end of the season. I think if they hadn't got that, I think they would have fell away, but that might just push them. Now, they're allowed to lose at home to Arsenal. That's allowed, but, you know, I think that might just kill them. But I think if I was to, I'm still going to put Chelsea and Leicester in there. I think I am, yeah. I think I'm going to put both of them in there. And that's me head and not me heart before anybody accuses me. I think Leicester have been a bit ropey, but I think them two games, it'll be key, them two games. If they were going with them two, you know, there's only 2 or 3 games left, and they still have a little bit of a margin, and of course they have to play United at home. So the way it sits at the moment with Leicester and Chelsea in there, I think that may be the way it finishes. Just quickly, lads, give me 3. Norwich are down. I think that's fair to say. Give me 2 teams that go with them. Anthony.
Norwich, Bournemouth, Aston Villa. Sorry, it was just they are the current bottom 3. I was just confirming. I think that will be the 3 that goes down.
Good stuff. Seany.
Norwich, Bournemouth, Villa.
Yeah. Chris.
Full house. I think.
Yeah, I'm all in on that as well. I think West Ham. But we've mentioned Brighton. Brighton have done brilliantly to get out where they were, especially with the run-in they had, and as well as that, I think everyone had a chance to sort West Ham out and failed miserably. And West Ham have picked up that win against Chelsea last week, so and a draw away to Newcastle, 4 in the last 2. So I think them bottom 3, I think is a very, very fair show. That's it. We're done. We're back tomorrow night. Well, I'm not. Keith is. Keith, Grizz, and Jim Fishlock are back tomorrow night with immediate reaction to Brighton v Liverpool. 10:15, I think that is, but it'll all be up on social media and stuff. I've just checked there. We're about 20 subscribers short of 2,000, so we don't activate the competition tonight. Activate it tomorrow night and watch Keith's head go explode while he's trying to do a pod and run a competition, and he'd be like, what the fuck is going on here, lads? And just deal with the Keith. I'll give him all the information. I won't be bad on him. I'll give him all the information, but if we throw a competition in mid-podcast, I think it'd be excellent. That's it. Thanks a million, Anthony. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, lads. Yeah, great to be here. Good crack.
Good stuff. Let me talk to you soon. Seany, my man, media executive at LFC Daytrippers. Thanks a million for joining us.
No problem at all, Gav. Cheers, pal.
Good stuff. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we talk to you soon, my man.
Cheers for having us, mate.
Good stuff. As I said, that is the Fatback 4 Daily for today. That's been the build-up show. And yeah, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Over and out.